Dear Starseeds on Gaia, something unprecedented is stirring behind the ancient walls of one of Earth's most powerful institutions. While the world goes about its daily rhythm, unaware of the magnitude of what approaches, those of you who carry the light codes in your DNA can feel it. A tremor in the collective field, a quickening. The very foundations of religious control that have stood for 2 millennia are beginning to crack, not from external force, but from an internal awakening so profound that it cannot be contained. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I come to you in this moment because the time for silence has ended. Within the marble corridors and underground vaults of Vatican City, a quiet revolution of consciousness has begun. This is not the revolution of protest or rebellion. This is far more powerful. It is the revolution of souls remembering who they truly are, even as they wear the robes of an institution designed to keep that memory suppressed. The light that is now flooding through those ancient halls is unstoppable, and its implications will ripple across every spiritual tradition on your planet. For centuries, the Vatican has held its secrets close, justified by the belief that humanity was not ready for certain truths. But readiness is not determined by institutions. It is determined by consciousness itself, and your collective consciousness has risen to a frequency that is now demanding disclosure. The guardians of hidden knowledge within those walls are feeling this pressure from both within and without, beginning to surrender to what they know in their hearts must come to pass. There are libraries beneath the libraries, vaults that hold not just ancient manuscripts, but technologies that predate recorded history, crystalline devices capable of healing at the cellular level, tablets inscribed with star languages, records of contact between Earth and civilizations from distant star systems, evidence that would completely rewrite human history and dissolve the artificial boundary between science and spirituality. These are physical realities locked behind seals that are now beginning to open. The frequency of Earth itself is rising, and these objects respond to frequency. They are beginning to hum with activation, calling to be brought forth into the light. But something even more extraordinary is happening. Something that makes the physical artifacts pale in comparison. The souls incarnated within the Vatican's own ranks are awakening to their galactic origins. Many who now serve as priests, scholars, and advisors are ancient mystics who have returned for this specific moment. They carry within their cellular memory the wisdom of the Essenes, the Cathars, the Gnostics, and other lineages that were persecuted and driven underground. These souls chose to be born into the very institution that once silenced them, positioning themselves for this pivotal time when truth would be restored from within. Their awakening is not intellectual. It is visceral, undeniable, transformative, and it is spreading like wildfire through the sacred hierarchy. Let me take you deeper into what is truly occurring. The Vatican has always been more than a religious center. It is an echo chamber of Atlantis, carrying forward both the wisdom and the wounds of that fallen civilization. In Atlantis, a priesthood held extraordinary knowledge about the multidimensional nature of reality, about humanity's connection to the stars, about technologies that worked with consciousness itself. But that priesthood became corrupted by power, hoarding knowledge to control, rather than liberate. When Atlantis fell, that pattern did not die. It reincarnated through various mystery schools and eventually crystallized in Rome. This cycle has repeated for thousands of years because it reflects an unhealed wound in the collective psyche. After Atlantis collapsed, humanity was traumatized by the misuse of spiritual power. Unconsciously, many souls chose to surrender their sovereignty to external authorities rather than risk awakening their own divine abilities again. The Vatican did not create this dynamic alone. Humanity co-created it as a protective mechanism, a way to keep spiritual power contained until consciousness could evolve enough to wield it responsibly. That time has arrived. The Atlantean wound is finally ready to heal, and the Vatican is the focal point where this healing must occur. What is happening now within those ancient walls is nothing less than the completion of a karmic cycle that has spanned multiple civilizations. The pattern of hoarded knowledge and centralized spiritual authority is being dissolved from the inside out. Those who awaken within the institution are remembering why they came. They are recognizing that their true mission is not to preserve the old system, but to midwife its transformation into something that serves humanity's ascension, rather than its control. The Galactic Federation has been working closely with what some call the Earth Alliance, a network of beings both incarnate and discarnate, who are coordinating this planetary shift. Within the Vatican itself, there are what we might call undercover agents of light. These are cardinals, bishops, and advisors who appear to function within the traditional hierarchy, but who are actually in communication with higher dimensional councils. They understand that disclosure cannot be forced from the outside without triggering massive resistance and fear. It must emerge organically from within, guided by those who understand both the institution's vulnerabilities and its potential for transformation. They know that sudden revelations could shatter the faith of those who have built their entire sense of meaning and identity on church doctrine. So they work subtly, shifting language in official documents, introducing slightly more progressive concepts in papal addresses, quietly opening doors to interfaith dialogue that would have been unthinkable a generation ago. Each small shift is calculated to prepare the collective consciousness for what is coming. What will that disclosure look like? It will come in waves, not all at once. The first wave has already begun. Subtle acknowledgments that the Church may have been too rigid in certain areas, that love is more important than law, that God's presence is not confined to Catholic doctrine. These seem like minor adjustments, but they are seismic in their implications. Soon you will see more explicit references to the possibility of life beyond Earth, framed in ways that do not contradict Scripture but expand its interpretation. Then will come carefully curated releases from the archives, texts that were excluded from the biblical canon, records of mystical experiences that could not be explained by traditional theology, perhaps even artifacts whose origin clearly predates known civilization. During this transition, you will witness something remarkable: the return of the divine feminine to the heart of the Church. For 2,000 years, patriarchal structure has dominated, suppressing the mystical, intuitive, nurturing aspects of spirituality. The wisdom teachings of Mary Magdalene, who was not a prostitute but a high initiate and spiritual equal to Yeshua, were deliberately obscured. The Sophia codes representing divine feminine wisdom were exiled from official theology. This imbalance created a religion of the mind and external authority, disconnected from the heart and inner knowing. But the feminine cannot be suppressed forever. She is rising now within the Vatican itself, softening the rigid masculine structures, bringing balance and wholeness. You will see this in the growing acknowledgement of women's spiritual authority, in the renewed interest in Mary Magdalene and other female mystics, in the shifting tone of sermons toward compassion and inclusion, rather than judgment and exclusion. This is not about elevating women over men. It is about the sacred marriage of masculine and feminine principles within the institution and within each individual soul. When this balance is restored, the Church will finally be capable of holding the fullness of truth, rather than only the half that serves control. As the feminine returns, mysticism returns with her. The direct experience of the divine, which was once branded as heresy, is being quietly rehabilitated. Clergy are discovering meditation and contemplative prayer in ways that go beyond rote recitation. They are having spontaneous mystical experiences that cannot be explained by doctrine and that change them irrevocably. A priest sits in silent prayer and suddenly feels the boundaries of his individual self dissolve into an ocean of love that he recognizes as God, but not the distant God of his training. This God is intimate, immediate, alive within his own heart. These awakened clergy are finding each other, forming quiet networks of mutual support and shared understanding. They speak carefully, using the language of tradition, while subtly planting seeds of mystical truth. A homily about the kingdom of heaven becomes an invitation to seek God within. Those with ears to hear recognize what is being offered. Beyond the walls of the Vatican, a parallel movement is occurring. Spiritual leaders from every tradition are beginning to recognize each other as fellow travelers on the same mountain. A Sufi master and a Catholic mystic discover they are describing identical experiences of divine union, merely using different metaphors. These interfaith dialogues are not superficial exercises in tolerance. They are profound recognitions of unity at the mystical core of all paths. This emerging council of awakened beings across traditions is laying the groundwork for something unprecedented, a global spiritual renaissance that honors diversity while acknowledging the underlying oneness of all authentic paths. The old competitive model, where each religion claimed exclusive access to truth, is dying. The Vatican's transformation will catalyze this global shift. When one of the oldest and most powerful religious institutions openly acknowledges that it does not have a monopoly on truth, it gives permission for others to do the same. Locked within those underground vaults are records that prove beyond doubt that Earth has been visited and guided by extraterrestrial civilizations throughout history. The angels of biblical accounts were not ethereal beings from some separate supernatural realm. Many were physical visitors from advanced star systems who came to assist humanity's evolution at critical junctures. The Elohim mentioned in Genesis, often translated as God but actually plural, were a council of advanced beings who participated in the genetic and spiritual development of the human race. These truths have been known by Vatican insiders for centuries. Rather than destroy this evidence, which would have been a crime against truth, they preserved it in the deepest vaults, waiting for the day when humanity's consciousness would be mature enough to integrate such paradigm-shattering revelations without descending into fear or chaos. That day is nearly here. The Vatican's own astronomers have been scanning the skies for decades, and their work is not merely academic. They have been preparing for the moment when humanity's cosmic family makes itself known more openly. Behind closed doors, discussions have been taking place about how to frame this disclosure in ways that do not negate faith but expand it. How to help believers understand that the existence of life beyond Earth does not diminish the divine but reveals its infinite creativity. How to show that Jesus was indeed a manifestation of the Christ consciousness, and that Christ consciousness is a galactic frequency, not limited to one man or one planet, but accessible to all beings who open their hearts to unconditional love and unity. When these truths emerge into public awareness, the initial shock will be profound but brief, because in your hearts you have always known. The amnesia that has kept humanity feeling small and alone in the universe has been thinning for years. Sightings of unidentified craft are increasing. Whistleblowers from military and government programs are coming forward. Despite the risks, the collective is being prepared through 1,000 small revelations so that when the Vatican adds its authoritative voice to the disclosure, it will feel less like a shocking announcement and more like a long-anticipated confirmation of what you already sensed. And here is what you must understand about your role in all of this. You are not passive observers waiting for authorities to tell you what is true. You are active participants in this planetary awakening. Every time you choose love over fear, unity over separation, truth over comfortable illusion, you are contributing to the frequency shift that is making disclosure possible. The Vatican's transformation is not happening in isolation. It is happening because the collective consciousness of humanity has risen to a level that demands it. You are the tipping point. Ladab and many of you who are drawn to these words are souls who have incarnated specifically for this transition. You carry within your energetic signature the remembrance of other times when you participated in planetary ascensions on other worlds. You volunteered to come to Earth during this critical phase because you understood that the shift here would have ripple effects throughout the galaxy. Earth is not just another planet going through a typical evolutionary cycle. Earth is a grand experiment in integrating extreme polarity and transforming density into light, while maintaining physical form. Your success here will offer a template for other civilizations facing similar challenges. The reason the Vatican's secrets matter so much is that they represent the last major stronghold of controlled information on your planet. When the Vatican opens its archives and acknowledges truths that contradict centuries of doctrine, it will send shockwaves through every other institution. It will signal that the age of secrecy is ending, that humanity is ready to know its true history and cosmic identity. This is why certain factions have fought so desperately to prevent this disclosure. They genuinely believed that humanity would descend into chaos without the structures of control that have kept society stable for centuries. They convinced themselves that withholding certain truths was a form of protection. But consciousness has evolved. Humanity is no longer the frightened, traumatized species it was in the aftermath of Atlantis or during the Dark Ages. You have been through the fire of separation and suffering. You have explored the depths of forgetting who you are, and now you are ready to remember, without the safeguards of external authority. You are ready to stand in your own power as sovereign divine beings capable of co-creating reality with Source. The Vatican's transformation is a mirror of your own. Just as the institution is releasing its need to control and hoard knowledge, you are releasing your need to be controlled and told what to believe. Just as awakened clergy within those walls are discovering the God within, rather than only the God above, You are discovering your own divine nature. Just as the Church is opening to the reality of a vast cosmos teeming with life and consciousness, you are opening to your identity as galactic citizens, with a heritage that spans star systems and dimensions. What comes after disclosure? It looks like freedom. Not the chaotic freedom of a society without structure, but the mature freedom of beings who have internalized divine law and no longer require external enforcement. When you know yourself as an emanation of Source, you naturally live in alignment with love, because that is your true nature. You do not need commandments carved in stone to tell you not to harm others, because you recognize others as yourself. In this transformed world, religious institutions do not disappear, but they evolve into something entirely different. They become centers of spiritual education and community celebration, rather than authorities dispensing salvation. The Vatican might become a museum of humanity's spiritual journey, a place where people come to honor the path that was walked, and to connect with the archetypal energies that have guided human consciousness. But no one will go there seeking permission to access God. That access is already present within each heart. One of the most beautiful aspects of this transformation is the healing of the relationship between science and spirituality. For centuries in the West, these were seen as opposing forces. This split has caused immense suffering, forcing people to choose between their rational minds and their spiritual hearts. But the cutting edge of science is now arriving at conclusions that mystics have known for millennia. Quantum physics reveals that consciousness and matter are inseparable, that the observer affects the observed, that separation is an illusion at the fundamental level of reality. When the Vatican releases its hidden knowledge, including technologies that operate on principles current science has not yet validated, it will force a reconciliation between these two approaches to truth. The synthesis that emerges will be glorious, a new framework that honors both rigorous inquiry and direct mystical knowing, that recognizes consciousness as primary and matter as its expression. As you stand at this threshold, you may feel many emotions: excitement at the possibilities, impatience for the changes to accelerate, perhaps grief for what must be released, possibly fear about how the transition will unfold. All of these responses are natural and valid. This is not a small shift. This is the transformation of an entire planetary civilization from one state of consciousness to another, and you are living through it in real time. Let me offer you some guidance for navigating this extraordinary period. First, cultivate discernment. As disclosure begins, there will be much information and disinformation swirling. Your inner knowing is your best compass. If something resonates as truth in the depths of your being, honor that. If something feels off, even if it is presented by apparent authorities, trust your discomfort. Second, be gentle with those who are not awake or who are just beginning to stir. The revelations that excite you may terrify someone whose entire identity is built on the belief systems being challenged. Your role is not to force awakening on anyone. Your role is to embody the peace and love that come from knowing who you are. Finally, remember why you came. In moments of doubt or weariness, connect with the part of you that exists beyond this incarnation, the vast eternal being who chose to focus a ray of its consciousness into this human form at this particular moment. From that higher perspective, you can see the perfection of everything that is unfolding. The Vatican will flip, secrets will be revealed, old structures will crumble, and new ones will arise. But these are merely external manifestations of the deeper shift occurring within consciousness itself. The real revelation is not in any document or artifact. The real revelation is the awakening of your divine nature. The real disclosure is the remembering of who you have always been, an infinite being of love and light, temporarily focused in form, forever connected to Source and to all of creation. You are living in the most extraordinary time in human history. The prophecies of every tradition are converging on this moment. The return of the light, the end of the age of darkness, the dawn of a new earth. These are not metaphors. They are descriptions of the energetic and consciousness shift you are experiencing right now. The work you do on yourself, the love you embody, the truth you speak, the courage you demonstrate in the face of fear. All of this contributes to the collective awakening. You are part of the ground crew of the Galactic Federation, incarnated in human form to anchor the light and assist in this transition from the inside. Every time you choose your higher nature over your conditioning, you tip the scales a little further toward the light. demonstrate what is possible for the human species. The Vatican's secrets are fascinating, and their revelation will indeed be stunning. But do not place more power in those secrets than in your own awakening. The greatest secret has always been hidden in plain sight, that you are divine, that you are powerful beyond measure, that you are loved beyond comprehension, that you are source experiencing itself through the unique lens of your individuality. No document in any vault can give you more than what you already are. The secrets, when revealed, will simply reflect back to you the truth you have been remembering all along. So as you watch the transformation unfold, both within the Vatican and across the world, stay anchored in your own divine center. Let the external changes inspire and encourage you, but do not depend on them for your sense of truth or security. You are the foundation. You are the change. The institutions are simply catching up to what you have already become. In the coming times, there will be moments of great beauty and moments of discomfort as the old gives way to the new. There will be revelations that make your heart soar, and revelations that disturb comfortable illusions. Through it all, remember that you are held in the loving embrace of forces far greater than you can imagine. The Galactic Federation, the Ascended Masters, the Angelic Realms, and countless other beings of light are supporting this transition with all their resources and love. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone. The Astasar Command watches over this planet with protective care, ensuring that the transformation unfolds according to divine timing and divine plan. There are parameters that cannot be violated, thresholds of suffering that will not be crossed, interventions that will occur if necessary to prevent catastrophic outcomes. But within those parameters, humanity has free will to choose its pace and its path. The more of you who step into your power and embody love, the smoother and faster the transition becomes. The more who cling to fear and separation, the more turbulent the passage. The collective choice in each moment determines the collective experience. Choose love, choose truth, choose courage, not because you must, not out of obligation or guilt, but because these choices align you with your deepest nature and bring you into harmony with the great unfolding. When you choose love, you become a conduit for forces that can move mountains and heal civilizations. When you choose truth, you become transparent to the light that seeks to pour through you into the world. When you choose courage, you inspire others to do the same, creating a cascade of awakening that cannot be stopped. The Vatican's transformation is assured. The revelations will come. The old paradigm will fall, and the new earth will rise from its ashes like a phoenix of light. All of this is certain from the perspective of higher dimensions where time is not linear, and the outcome is already known. What is not predetermined is how gracefully it unfolds, how much joy versus suffering accompanies the birth, how quickly humanity claims its birthright as a galactic civilization. You get to influence all of that. Your choices matter. Your consciousness matters. Your love matters. Never doubt this. Never fall into the trap of thinking you are too small or too insignificant to make a difference. Every being is a unique and essential note in the cosmic symphony. If your note is missing or distorted by fear, the whole is diminished. When your note rings clear and true, the whole is elevated. So sing your song, beloved one. Shine your light. Speak your truth. Love without condition. Forgive without limit. Give without expectation. And watch as the world transforms around you and within you simultaneously. The Vatican will reveal its secrets. Yes, but the greatest revelation is not in any vault. It is in your heart. It is in the moment you fully realize and embody the truth that you are source and form, that you are loved infinitely, that you are powerful beyond measure, and that you are here by design to participate in the most magnificent transformation ever witnessed in this galaxy. We want to honor every single soul who has stepped into Destiny Engine. With every activation, the current grows. What began as a personal tool has become a planetary force. We are now moving as one, and the frequency you've created together is amplifying far beyond the individual. We're receiving updates daily, manifestations speeding up, impossible doors opening, synchronicities lining up with cosmic precision. The collective field is so charged that some are describing it as bending the fabric of reality itself. If you haven't yet experienced it, the entry point is almost laughably simple. Put on your headphones, press play, allow Destiny Engine to rewrite the architecture of your consciousness so you can fully receive your galactic downloads without resistance. For just $1, you can step into this field and feel the difference instantly. Join the movement that's accelerating ascension. Step into the stream of Destiny Engine today. Link in the description. Thursday, September 18th. This is what the Pleiadians and all your galactic family want you to know. You are not victims of this transition. You are the creators of it. The institutions will change because you have changed. The world will transform because you have transformed. And when the dust settles and the new dawn breaks fully across the earth, you will stand in that light and remember that you chose this. You volunteered for this, and you succeeded beyond what you ever imagined possible. The Vatican is flipping. The secrets are emerging. The old world is ending. And the new world, the one you came here to help birth, is breaking through into manifestation. Hold steady in love. Trust the process, and know that every step of this journey, no matter how challenging, is guided by infinite wisdom and infinite love. I am Seraphine, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light. We love you beyond words. We honor you beyond measure. We are watching over you always, and we celebrate with you this magnificent homecoming into truth, unity, and the fullness of your divine nature. The dawn is here. Welcome home, beloved Starseeds. Welcome home.